My name is Scotty Wiley. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Onyx Armor. Today what we're going to do is a very short video on how to properly size someone in the use of body armor. There are three methods for properly sizing someone for the use of body armor. Method number one would be to take your existing panels from the vest that you've been currently wearing, providing that that vest actually fits. Measure the panel from the top of the neck down to the bottom, measure it across the chest, and then measure it across the waist. You would do those same measurements for both the front and the back panels and provide those measurements to us for a custom fit. The second method for sizing body armor would be to use sizing vests. We'll be doing a short video on the use of sizing vests at a later date. The third method of measuring is actually using a cloth measuring tape and getting the actual measurements of the individual. Today we actually have Officer Rocha that is going to help us doing these measurements. To begin with, what we're going to want to do is actually go behind the officer, trying to stay away from his personal space as much as we can. We're going to put the measuring tape around his chest and ask him to hold it straight across his bust. So Mr. Rocha, hold the tape across your bust. Thank you. And right now we've got a 42 and a half. So we're going to write that measurement down on the measuring form. Next thing you're going to do is drop it down to the abdomen area. And what you want to do is put the measurement tape across the widest point of his waist. Not the waist measurement, but the widest point. So in this case we have a 39 inch, and that's again the measurement that you're going to want to put on your measuring tape. The next measurement we're going to do while he's standing, and let me turn him around here, is we're going to come back to the base of his neck. You can typically feel the bone at the top of the vertebra, and put the measuring tape at the top, go all the way down to the top of the duty belt, and in this case he is a 17, and you would write that measurement down on the measuring form. The next measurement, we're going to have Officer Rocha turn back around. We're going to put the tape right at the clavicle of his neck, come all the way down to the top of his duty belt, and we have an 18 inch, and we're going to put that number on his measuring form. It's very important when you're doing any kind of measuring for a police officer to make sure that they're wearing their uniform belt. Whatever they would wear for daily use is what you need to put. The last measurement we're going to take is the front sitting measurement. So again, you get up to the clavicle of the throat, you drop down again to the top of the duty belt, and right here we have a 14 and a half inch. So what you will notice between the standing front measurement and the sitting front measurement, it actually decreases a couple of inches. That's very important because as an officer, when you sit in the patrol car, you want to be comfortable. You want to make sure that when you're driving the car, that your vest isn't shoving up into your throat. So be very careful in getting that measurement properly. A couple of other things to consider while you're measuring armor. Number one is be sure to get the height and the weight of the individual. Secondly, if you are measuring a female officer, you would measure the same way that I measured Officer Rocha. The additional measurement that we're going to need would actually be their bust cups. Once you have all of that, you have all the measurements that you need. To close, I can't stress enough how important it is to get the perfect measurements on the individuals. Onyx Armor offers a 60-day guarantee fit. Now what that guarantee means is that you're going to measure the officer, you're going to make sure that the measurements that we receive are correct, we're going to send the vest in, the officer needs to put the vest on their body, make sure that it fits, and they have 60 days from the time that they receive it to send it back to us. Now it's critically important that the vest is in new and unused condition when they return it. We allow the 60 days just from a timing standpoint so that each agency doesn't have to rush to get it back to us. But again, make certain that you get the measurements because there's nothing more important than an officer being comfortable while wearing their armor.